There's a young man named Ben who decided on his theme for the year for 2026, and the theme was going to be trust. And as he was traveling right after he selected that word, and the carousel's going around and around, and his luggage wasn't. It's like, oh yes, I meant reasonably trust. And as the year went on, doors closed, timelines and deadlines went by, and things just weren't going the way he thought they would. And he said, okay, I'm trusting. By the end of the year, by December 31st, he felt a lot more calm. And it's not that things turned out well for him, it's that he trusted the unfoldment and knew that everything would unfold perfectly. He said to the universe, well played. And the universe said back, good job. Next year I'm going to give you joy. He said, is that a threat? It can feel like when we pick a word or we hear our guidance and we follow it, like everything that is not like that is going to show up. And sometimes that happens. And it's okay, because the lessons we learn, the blessings that we get, the gifts that we get from that are beyond measure. They're amazing. Last week we had our white stone ceremony. Some of you picked or heard from your divine selves a new name for 2026. How many got a name? Did you get a new name? Put it on your white stone? Yeah. I had shared that I had believe on my t-shirt that we did as a family this last year, and that is my white stone word as well. And if you were listening last Sunday, you might have, I hinted at what our theme was going to be. So we do an annual theme here at Columbine every year, and it's always like a big secret. Only the staff knows until we reveal it. And so this year's no different, so I'm not going to share just yet. A lot of you know that I'm taking a class I started in November on Wednesday nights, 3 hours. It goes till the end of June, these long classes. And this class is challenging me. It's inviting me into a different way of thinking. It's fun and not so fun. Sometimes I get out of the class and say to Kevin, my husband, like, oh, what am I doing in this class? It's hard. One of the things that we're learning is quantum physics, which makes it a little more challenging. If any of you know quantum physics and quantum metaphysics and trying to understand and explain what it is, I'm not going to try to explain it today. So you're off the hook. But we're doing I'm doing a lot of reading like I normally do, but it's really fun for me. And one of the books that I'm reading is The Art of Possibility by Rosamund Stone Zander and Benjamin Zander, their husband and wife team. He conducts an orchestra, I think Philharmonic Orchestra, and she's a therapist. And so they wrote this book together. And in the early part of the book, there's a puzzle in it that I was reminded of this puzzle that it was real popular in the 70s and 80s. Let's show the puzzle. Remember this? 9 dots. So here's the trick. You have to connect all 9 dots with a pencil, drawing 4 lines without lifting your pencil up. Everybody figure out how to do that? Anybody remember how to do that? Some of you remember, some of you maybe like, I don't know how I would do that. Okay. I didn't remember the answer, so I had to look it up. Here's one of the solutions. Same 9 dots, but what happened? You have to go outside the box to do it, to solve it, to get the 4. You can count them, everybody counting them, making sure they're right, 4 lines. You have to go outside the box. You can't stay within those boundaries of those 9 dots. You have to go outside of it. Here's another solution using 3 lines. I never would have thought of doing it this way. There's always an answer. So I love that because it is just a good reminder for us all. There's more than what we see. There's more than what we're living in the boundaries we put around ourselves. They say this. There's a quote here somewhere. The frames our minds create define and confine what we perceive to be possible. Every problem, every dilemma, every dead end we find ourselves facing in life only appears unsolvable inside a particular frame or point of view. We teach this in Unity. Many faith traditions teach this. We teach this in New Thought, that every problem has a solution, every question has an answer, but you can't find it, or you won't be aware of it at the same level that the problem was created. You have to think outside the box. You have to be willing to be open to something beyond whatever created that question or that problem or that issue or that challenge. And so we're invited to do that all the time, but we often just keep ourselves confined to these four walls. And then we are wondering why our life isn't expanding, or why we're living the same day over and over and over, the same year over and over and over. Because we have to think outside the box. We have to allow ourselves to be bigger, have a bigger life than what we have. So another book that I'm reading is called The Possibility Principle. And this book is what got me so excited about our theme this year. Because this book talks about how most of us, for centuries, we have lived with a mechanistic worldview, meaning that we are separate from each other, we are separate from what's out there, and everything works according to the law of cause and effect. In the book, what has been around for decades, actually, is quantum physics in a different worldview, a participatory worldview, where we create our experience of life, where we realize and come to know and come to believe that we are all one, that we're inseparable. And it can change the way you see things. It can change what opportunities arise for you. It can change everything when you change your worldview. More participatory. It's so exciting to me. And this is what we talk about in my advanced consciousness class is quantum physics and reality and consciousness, and how does it all work together, and how do we create the best life ever for ourselves? Mel Schwartz says this. He does say something. No, I went ahead. Okay, let's go back. We'll go with Mel Schwartz. It's time for each of us to experience new possibilities. Possibilities we can apprehend when we let go of the old outlook that keeps us stuck in so many areas of our lives. It's time to experience new possibilities. So let's go back to what Roz and Benjamin said. They call this stuck way of thinking, it's all invented. We create stories, we a lot of times from our youth, from our childhood, and then we live our lives based on the stories we've created, the beliefs we've formed. And they said this is how we can get out of it, by asking ourselves these two questions. What assumption am I making that I'm not aware I'm making that gives me what I see? Think about that. What assumption am I making? I'm not aware of it. A lot of times, our whole lives, we are guided by our unconscious beliefs. We live according to these beliefs that we hold, and we're not even aware of them. And it determines what we see in the world, the way we see the world. So then they say, what might I now invent that I haven't yet invented that would give me other choices? How can I invent a new story? How can I create a new story, a new belief, a new way of looking at things? Because once we do that, we start to see more possibilities. We start to see more opportunities. We have so much more potential than we realize. But what might I now invent that I haven't yet invented? So anybody guess our theme? You probably get along what lines it is. Here it is. Year of possibility. What if this year, oh, some of you like it, good, okay. What if this year we ask constantly, what's possible? Instead of what's probable. What's possible? And not, yes, there are negative possibilities as well, but we're not going there. What's possible from our divine selves, from our higher selves, from that essence within each one of you? What is possible? What could happen if we stop thinking within the box, if we think outside the box? You know, we can look at the news, and this is what excites me about this, is that I don't have to stay focused on what the news is telling me is going on. I know there's a whole lot more good. There's a whole lot more potential for good. There's a whole lot of good news going on that we don't hear about. Amen. And so what if we just hold on to that? What's possible? What is going on? What is good? Where's the potential? We can change the world. Enough of us think this way. Enough of us have a participatory worldview. Enough of us hold the goodness. Think outside the box. Think outside the prison we create in our own minds. We can change the world. We can make it better. And this is what excites me. This is what excites me about what I'm learning in my class. There's so much more than we're seeing. Stop boxing ourselves in. This week I watched a movie called Soul on Fire. Anybody see it? It's on Netflix. Nobody saw it first service either. Oh, you saw it. Yay, Luca saw it. So it was a great movie, right? Well, I thought it was a great movie. So it's based on a true story of a man named John O'Leary. John O'Leary was one son of 6 kids. I think he was the 4th child. And when he was 9 years old, he was riding his bike and he was going over a bridge of a creek where he saw some older boys putting a piece of cardboard down on the stone and pouring gasoline on it and then throwing matches at it, and it would, poof up, flames. And he had the great idea, like, well, if they can do it, I can do it. They got away with it, I can get away with it. So one day when his parents weren't home, in the garage, he took a piece of cardboard and he lit it on fire with a match, put it on the floor, and picked up the gasoline can that was too heavy for him. He wanted to just pour a drop of gasoline on this flame, and he dropped it, it exploded, and he was shot across the wall, caught on fire. He was all on fire, and he says that he knew that when you're on fire, you're supposed to stop, drop, and roll. He ran into the house where his brothers and sisters were, his older brother, and he's running around trying to find somebody to help him. His brother picked up the rug from the foyer and starts putting the fire out with this rug and wrapped him in it and took him out, but the house was on fire. And his little sister, I think the youngest sister, went and got a glass of water and came out and threw it in his face. And she did that 2 more times, going into a flaming house and threw it in his face all 3 times. He doesn't remember all of that. He woke up in the hospital. And when he woke up, he was in a lot of pain. And they were taking him to surgery. And his mom showed up, not knowing the state, what happened or how it happened or the state of their house or anything. And he said to his mom, "Am I going to die?" And instead of saying something that might comfort him, she said, "That's not up to me, John, it's up to you. Do you want to die?" And he said, "No, I want to live." And she said, "Then you got to fight." He says those words helped him fight for his life. How many of us live our lives we're not really living when we're in this box? So he was in the hospital for 5 months, getting his bandages changed every day, learning how to walk again. He had incredible health care, nurses and doctors, a man who kept his room clean because infection is the number one thing that will kill a burn victim. He was burnt over 100% of his body, and 87% of those were 3rd-degree burns. He had a visitor the very first night that he was in the hospital, and it was an award-winning commentator who was the voice of the St. Louis Cardinals. And John was a big baseball fan. And Jack Buck came in and saw him. And when he left, John was unconscious. But when he left, Jack asked the nurses and the doctors, what are his chances? They said none. He's not going to make it. Well, 5 months in the hospital, many visits from Jack Buck, an incredible medical team, and over 5 months later, he was able to leave the hospital and go home. The day he was going home, Jack Buck showed up and told him that the night of the day that you were burned, that day of the accident, I asked what your chances, and they said you didn't have a chance of living. And John didn't know that. And Jack Buck said to him these words, "Don't ever let anybody write you off again." It's just, I got really teary through this whole movie because there's so many great one-liners, but don't let anybody ever write you off. Each of us are here by divine appointment. We are here for a purpose. We are here because we are divine beings having a human experience, and we are meant to be here. We matter. We're worthy. I wish I could share with you enough of the words that everybody would really get, that you are here for a reason. And you get to decide what reason that is. You get to decide. So John had a lot of scars on the outside, and he had years of surgeries and rehabilitation, and it changed his family's life. It changed his life. Jack Buck sent him a baseball signed by one of the Cardinals. And he knew, because John's mom told him, he won't write. He lost his fingers because they were getting infected and they had to amputate. But his mom was determined that he was going to write and he was going to play the piano in spite of it. And so Jack sent him a baseball autographed by one of the Cardinals and said, "If you want another ball, you have to write a thank you note." And John, being a big baseball fan, Cardinal fan, he did. He got 53 balls. And he learned to write again. And he learned to play the piano again. Not well, but to make out a tune. And he ended up living a very great life. He had a lot of scars on the outside, but the ones on the inside, the invisible scars, were harder to heal because he needed to learn that, yeah, he made a mistake. And he had to forgive himself. And he had to learn that he was worthy in spite of it. And that he was here for a reason. He became a motivational speaker, a best-selling author. He has 2 books out. When he was speaking, somebody asked him from the audience, would you do it all over again? Would you go through all that pain, all the scars, all of that trauma again? And he said, yes. Yes, because it has made me who I am. He says this, it led to a clear perspective on what actually matters and a bold vision for what's possible. He wouldn't have had the life he had that not happened to him. He wouldn't have had the wife he had, 4 kids, motivational speaker. Incredible life. Here's a picture of him now. He doesn't have a lot of scars on his face because his sister threw water in his face 3 times. But the whole rest of his body is scarred. It's a beautiful story, and I highly recommend the movie. It's on Netflix. Soul on Fire. Soul on Fire. It's an incredible story of what can happen when you can see outside the box. Doctors saying you have no chance, and he survived. He's about, I think, 49 now. It's incredible. So we're having a class here. Many of you taken, we've been doing this since, I don't know, Kevin and I were talking about what year was the first year we offered it here at Columbine. I took it in 2011, Prosperity Plus. And then we offered it here maybe 14. I don't remember exactly. This is a class where you get to create a vision statement for yourself. What's possible? What's possible? What would you love? What would you love your life to look like? What would you love your life to feel like? Not what it should be, not what you can do, not what's probable. What would you love? That's the only criteria, that you would love it. You would wake up in the morning saying, yes, I get to do this. This is my life. I get to live this life. And it is available to every one of us. Every year that I do this class, I write a new vision statement. And this has changed my life. It has brought me to here, to Colorado. It has brought me to ministry. It's brought me to lots of amazing relationships. I can't tell you how much it's changed my life for the better. By following these principles and using our power of imagination that we teach in Unity, our ability to envision, to imagine, imagination, to imagine, to create, and then believe. Have your power of faith. Believe that it's possible. Ability to trust and know. It has changed lives, many lives. So we're offering that here again, and I heard that people have a hard time doing their vision statement. And without the vision statement, you have to have a vision statement because it's essential to living a life you would love, to at least know what that's going to look like, or have an idea of what it's going to look like, and put it down on paper and think and contemplate it and think about it. So I want to do a little experiment. Think about, everybody, we'll go one area of your life, just one, creative expression. what you do in the world, how you spend your time. If it could be your work, if you're retired, it could be your hobbies, your passions. How do you spend your time? And what would you love, just love to do? That's the only question you have to ask. What would you love? So everybody, I want you to we're going to pause for just a minute. What would you love in the area of how you spend your time, your creative expression in the world? So if you don't have anything, that's okay. It's an invitation to keep thinking about it. And if you do have something, you have the beginning of a vision statement. And an exercise we're going to do in Prosperity Plus is we're going to go through different areas of your life and give you time to think, what would you love? And then write it down. This becomes your vision statement. This becomes what is possible for you, not probable. It doesn't matter. There was no evidence that I could be a minister when I first had the vision that I wanted to be one. No evidence of it. I had to use my power of faith. I had to believe in myself. I had to believe that if the divine is bringing this vision to me, the divine part of me, not a divine out there, that I was capable. And I just had to take the steps to get there. So, we all have a past. It's made us who we are, like John O'Leary. Past has made us who we are, but it does not determine who we will be. That's up to you. With every choice you make, every decision you make, every possibility you see, every possibility you grab, every opportunity that you take, it's all there in the quantum field. This field of pure potential is yours and mine and each of ours. If you're willing, if you want to dream, if you want to imagine, have fun with it. So, year of possibility. Ask yourself, what's possible? What's possible for my life? What's possible? And it can change your life. So, namaste, peace be with you. Have fun with Year of Possibility.